Hey guys, Ron here. Yes, tonight it's another night shoot. And tonight I'm in Beverly Hills again because I love the flats of Beverly Hills. I mean, I love the Hollywood Hills too. And um, is that car going right to where I'm going to be filming? Let's find out. Hold on. So the car behind me is going either into the house that I'm going to be filming or the house next door. Can't quite tell. So let's take a walk down the street for a second. And that's happened to me before. Actually, I was filming. Whose house was I filming? Maybe, I think Elizabeth Montgomery's house, also in Beverly Hills, and a car came out of the driveway right when I was there. And then I was filming in front of another one, or maybe across the street, and the woman who lived there was driving into her driveway and asked me why I was filming. So you just can never tell. Anyway, so we hear them, they're getting out. I don't want to invade anybody's privacy. So now it's, wow, they slammed those doors. So eventually I'll make my way back to the home over here on Alpine Drive in Beverly Hills. By the way, I've filmed Don Rickles' house up the hill. He lived up on North Alpine past Sunset. This is closer to Santa Monica Boulevard. But eventually I'll be heading back and we're going to be taking a look at Walter Matthau's house. Walter Matthau, what are they doing? I got to check this out. Hold on. Well, I don't know. Now they're turning around. So, where'd they go? Here they come. Very strange. Very strange. Well, maybe they were just dropping off food. Who knows? Anyway, so the home of Walter and Carol Matthau. And Walter Matthau always kind of held a place in my heart. Not my heart, not emotionally, but there was a slight reminder because he was born the same year as my mother, 2 years before my father, in the Lower East Side of New York. During, well, not during the Depression, a decade before the Depression, but if you stayed there, which he did, which my folks were, especially my father, it was Depression. It was the Depression. I mean, there was like no work. My family was more lucky. My grandfather owned his own print shop. He was a printer, had a trade. But other than that, it was pretty bad. But anyway, Matthau was born, excuse me, in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. And that was the area where you had the Jewish neighborhood where Matthau was, next to the Italian neighborhood, which is Little Italy, next to, I don't know what else was there in the 20s, probably various other European immigrants. But definitely the Jewish neighborhood and Little Italy right next to each other. And probably Asian communities, certainly Chinese. So anyway, and Walter Matthau went to Seward Park High School, which is where my father went. My father, like I said, was 2 years behind, but I don't think he knew him. From the conversations I had with him, he didn't know him. Probably ran in different circles. Anyway, let's finally go back and see if we can take a look at this house. Sirens, I'll tell you, man. See where that's going. That's Santa Monica Boulevard, by the way. Waiting. Look how sculptured and manicured it is here. Fire truck going down Santa Monica Boulevard. So, anyway, when I first saw Walter Matthau in Bad News Bears when I was a teenager, pre-teenager, he kind of wore that same kind of shirt that my father, who was a real estate agent at that time, and guys in their 50s were wearing at that time. Very interesting, because I certainly wouldn't wear stuff like that, but it was the 70s, and now it's not. So anyway, but I mean, it's not that he reminded me of him, but they both had that same kind of, because they were born 2 years apart in the same neighborhood and lived in the same neighborhood, went to the same high school. Here's the home. And Walter Matthau was an accomplished actor, but before that, I mean, he served. I got to show you this house across the street. Look at that mega mansion, huh? Matthau served a couple of years in the Army Air Force. I believe it was Army Air Force, and flew on bombardier missions. He was at the Battle of the Bulge. he was all over the place in the military, in the Army. So once he got back from World War II, he started acting. Now well, doesn't matter. I've told the story how my father got his deferment. Well, actually, he didn't get a deferment. My father was 4F. That was called 4F. He tried twice to get into the service during the war, my father, but his eyesight was so poor that he was rejected. Why they didn't take him to be a cook or to work in, office supply or something, which was his future profession, or other things. He could have even stayed here in the United States or worked at an army base or somewhere. Baffles me. But my mother always told me that they had a quota of guys they would take from each city, and she said in New York City in 1942 or whatever it was, that they had so many guys they didn't need him really, that they were already full. So I don't know if he would have got drafted even if he was fit. But he tried. Anyway, that's my story. And my father. Okay. They're out there in the front yard talking. Uh-oh. I think they're coming out. Talking about breaking the door. I don't know what she's talking about. I'll keep going. And we'll walk up the street here and I'll keep talking. Anyway, so is she walking the dog or is she just going crazy? This is the kind of stuff that happens in Beverly Hills. So Matthau, like I said, started acting afterwards, after the war, and was quite successful in stage and in film, and look at that beautiful house, and his successful partnership with Jack Lemmon. Unfortunately, like most people of that era, including my parents, he was a heavy smoker. 1964, the Surgeon General warning came out about cigarette smoking, and a lot of people stopped then, or started to stop, let's say, and Matthau probably didn't, because he eventually succumbed to the effects of smoking and heart disease and things like that. Probably drank just a little bit too, I would imagine, but probably had a good time. So he, from the Lower East Side, he was able to live in this very nice, beautiful home here in Beverly Hills. His parents were Jewish immigrants from the old country, as the relatives call it, the old country. And, made quite a success of himself. Well, she went back in. I said this, I think, just last night on a video I was doing here in Beverly Hills, is that this part of Beverly Hills, the flats, particularly between like Santa Monica Boulevard and Wilshire Boulevard, even up to Sunset, you just walk right up. I mean, obviously, you can see behind me there, obviously some have fences and gates, but really, it's not like up in the hills. Up in the hills, you're looking at big black gates and sprawling mansions. It's more accessible here. So a lot of, obviously, probably 99.9% of the original homes were knocked down to make room for these very large mega mansions. Some not so large. They're not sprawling estates, on several acres like in Bel Air. And some of those are just unbelievable. They're like mini little cities. Like Pickfair, which I filmed, and we can only see a gate outside. Charlie Chaplin's house. Those were just unbelievable. Like one of the houses that Taylor Swift has, which was, I believe, I don't know if Harry Cohn's. It was one of the great studio executives of the 40s and 50s. And I don't remember whether it was Harry Cohn or one of the Warner Brothers. It wasn't Louis B. Mayer. But that's another sprawling estate. I don't know what's quite going on down here. This is a little too close to Santa Monica Boulevard for my taste. What I mean by that is it's a little noisy. And being closer to Sunset is actually less noisy, Sunset Boulevard. Two-hour parking, 8 to 6. That's pretty standard around LA. Walter Matthau also lived in Pacific Palisades. You know, most of these people had several properties over time, and some of them were up in places like Beverly Park, which is completely guard gated and there's no entry there, or in the Malibu Colony, which is completely guard gated and you can't get into. At the time of this writing, at the time of this filming, Sylvester Stallone had a huge property up in Beverly Park, the gated community, and he sold it to Adele, and Adele has apparently just sold it again for herself. But she has several properties, and Stallone has moved permanently to Florida and is apparently getting a divorce from his third wife, which lasted 27 years. But that's another story. I wish I could film Stallone's homes, but I can't. I can't get up to the Beverly Park one. So the Walter Matthau home with the woman screaming obscenities. Something broke the gate. I don't know what she was talking about. Doesn't really matter though. Alright guys, Ron here. Always a pleasure. If you like the channel, please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, hit the little bell icon next to the subscription button. Then you'll be notified when I post. And please give the channel likes, folks. Very, very important, because that moves along the algorithm of YouTube and directs people to the channel. And I appreciate all the thoughtful, intelligent comments, other than comments that say, dude. Hey, my name's not dude. Don't call me dude. Okay? Mr. Ron, sir. Anyway. All right, guys. I will see you at the next location. Thanks very much for watching and listening. Bye-bye.